If you've had enough of weighty and highbrow exhibitions with their somber reflections on life and art, get down with these interactive performance artists from the UK. They're called Forest Fringe, and they sure are fringy, coming to Beijing to unleash their zaniness on the unsuspecting locals. Mufang Zhou goes down the rabbit hole.
Entering the atrium of the venue, there's a pop-up cafe called Hunt and Darton, where the hostess duo improvise their interactions in a fully functioning cafe. Even those familiar with the setup can't tell where the service ends and the surreal begins, as these British artists are livening things up with antiques of their own.
I think it's important that we tell you that one of Hunt and Darton Cafe's key ethoses,
core value is to that it's inconsistency is one of our core values. So every moment of a customer journey we broke down together creatively, and we thought, what should we do to interrupt people's automated behavior so that maybe they feel it's chaos, but for us it's not.
But we do have a repertoire that is delivered in more than one location, yes.
There is definitely an infrastructure that maybe you didn't witness, because we know what we're doing.
Another major element in the repertoire is Time Lab, a workshop starring not the artist but the participants. They are invited to deconstruct a timepiece, spending an hour in the laboratory, first dismantling a wristwatch, then reconstructing the pieces to form an item of their own, whether it be jewelry, an installation, or a sculpture. It's a reflection on time, as the very instruments of time are reordered.
It's about us recognizing the kind of mechanical constraints we have put onto our everyday. So it came from this idea of looking at different alternative readings of time and looking at kind of pre-industrial revolution and standardization of time. It was looking at kind of how do we measure time in different ways. And the clock is metaphorically and literally used to capture someone's life. There's a saying that time was made for man, not man for time. And I think that's something that is really quite interesting for me to think about and for participants to think about in the work.
Despite the growing success, Forest Fringe stays independent and non-profit, guided by a DIY interactive ethos. The artist collective is branching into more site-specific work and has put together several micro-festivals worldwide in response to the relative exclusion of working-class artists from the mainstream. Yet it continues to serve up wry humor and absurdity in generous helpings. The artists of Forest Fringe first came together at the Edinburgh Fringe in 2007. Their arrival in Beijing follows stops in Guangzhou and Shanghai. Mufang Zhou, CCTV, Beijing.